Welcome to One Insight. My name is Litvin. I grew up in London and I now live in LA. And this is a podcast for extraordinary top performers. You see, I've coached some of the most successful and talented people on the planet. I see what most people cannot see, and I dare to say what most people wouldn't dare to say. And what I know about success is that on the other side of it, it can actually be lonely. You can feel like more of an imposter the more successful you become. And when you're the most interesting person in the room, you're actually in the wrong room. I coach around insight. Life looks one way, something happens, the world looks different, and your entire world changes. It can happen in an instant. And this podcast is called One Insight because a single insight can change everything.
In a moment, you're going to see me coaching. Well, it's what we do, right? We coach, and too rarely do you actually get a chance to see people coaching and in the moment. And you're going to see me working with an amazing woman called Kristen. And she has a track record as someone doing extraordinary things, both in the TV industry that she worked in originally, and then when she left that to go into the field of non-profits, making a difference. Her company that she created from scratch, within 10 years, had taken clean water to 80,000 people, dramatically changing lives. And we come into the conversation with a question I love, what would make this an extraordinary conversation? And she starts to talk about growing her business exponentially. But there's something missing. And when I don't feel it, I have to dive in. And as we dive in and go down this particular rabbit hole, she shares things that she's never shared before. She's moved to tears and leaves with an insight that my sense is going to make a massive impact both in her life and in the life of the clients she wants to work with down the road. The thing about coaching the way I like to coach is that it's not time-based. I'm not looking for how long do I work with you. I'm looking for that moment of insight, that moment when life looks one way and then something happens and now life looks another way. Because the moment life looks different, your entire world changes. And enjoy. You'll get to watch me coaching, you'll get to watch Kristen being really open and honest. And as you watch, look for the moments of insight on her side, and look for the moments where I'm coaching, where I see the rabbit hole to dive down. When you coach, there are many rabbit holes to dive down. Watch me and the ones that I go down, not because I'm right, coaching's an art, not a science, but to see what I saw in that moment, to listen to what I heard in that moment, and to feel what I might have been feeling on my insides as I was coaching my client in that moment. And then share with us what were your insights about the coaching for the client or for you. And as a coach, share with us what were your insights around coaching, what you do, what you might do differently. I'd love to hear from you. All right, enjoy. Hey, Kristen.
Hi, Rich.
So let's play. Normally I'd say everything we say will be in absolute confidence. Not quite true this time. We have some people who may be watching us. However, what I invite you to do is to play with me in a way that it is just the two of us. And we get a chance to go as deep as you're willing to go, wherever you want to go. Are you up for that?
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, thank you for playing. So what would make this an extraordinary conversation today?
If I had an aha moment.
So that I'm pretty sure I can promise you will occur.
Okay.
Because it's the only way I coach. I coach around insight. My coaching is not time-based. We set aside an hour for this, but you might have your insight moment in the next 30 seconds and we're done. Is there somewhere, an area you'd like an insight around?
Yes, I'd like an insight around how I can exponentially grow my coaching business.
Okay, now we're talking. Tell me more. So I know you have a track record in the past before you came into coaching. You were a leader in the nonprofit world, ran a nonprofit for many years, making a real difference in the world, which is amazing. Before that, you had a background in the TV world, the world of media, and now you're a coach. What do I need to know? What would really serve in this conversation?
How in a short amount of time I can really grow my business in terms of one-on-one clients, but also group coaching, also other programs. And I've been marinating in this idea that I have for a long time. And so maybe while doing those two pieces, growing the one-on-one clientele, creating the group coaching program, and then really putting myself out there to launch my big idea. Do you want to know what it is?
I was wondering if you didn't tell me. Because your energy just shifted then. I mean,
yeah, I know, right. So...
Look, I can coach you how to grow an extraordinary coaching business.
Yeah. I know.
Tell me more about the piece that really excites you.
So I've had this idea cooking for a long time. And it doesn't have a name yet. I've come up with lots of different names. But essentially, I want to create a studio where people can go to process their emotions. So, we've seen it, we've seen the development of studios, a lot over the last 20 years, yoga studios, spinning studios. In recent years, we've seen the real success of meditation studios, people actually go somewhere to meditate. And what I haven't seen is a place where people go to process their emotions. I think people do that in all of those places. And the idea that I have is somewhere processing them in a different way, very directly, really working through emotions. Does that explain it? You can ask me a question. I don't know if that makes sense.
Why is it important to you?
Because I believe it's the key to freedom, and I know that it's not something that's out there in the world, and I feel like it's really important for me, knowing how much it's changed my life, to put it into the world so other people have the opportunity to learn this practice for themselves, so that they too can have freedom.
So processing your emotions has created freedom for you?
Yeah.
What was life like before the opportunity to process your emotions?
Hopeless. Just kind of hanging on, just kind of making it, just getting by, but not living fully, not living full spectrum.
Tell me about you when life was hopeless.
It's like I didn't feel like I had any power, no empowerment. I didn't have any say-so in what happened in my life. I was truly the victim of circumstance. It's like what was going to happen was just going to happen, and there was nothing that I could do about it.
So my experience of you is as the opposite of that. You come across to me as a woman of power and impact. And it sounds like life was not always like that. In fact, for a long time it wasn't like that.
No. I mean, maybe on some level on the outside, it might have looked like there was some maybe power, some impact, but I certainly didn't feel that on the inside.
Yeah.
So it didn't really matter what was happening on the outside.
Yeah. Felt powerless for much of my life. Even in moments where I could be making a difference in the world. There was this little boy inside of me who still showed up feeling powerless.
Yeah.
What shifted?
Well, it's interesting when I started doing really deep emotional processing work. I actually woke up on my 30th birthday. Actually, I didn't wake up. It was the eve of my 30th birthday, and I was laying in bed, and I cried all night. And I was crying because it's like I knew my life was supposed to be extraordinary, and it's like I hadn't gotten there yet. I didn't feel extraordinary, and part of that was the realization that I'd had some really pretty horrible things that had happened to me in my life that I hadn't processed, that I had just buried in my life. And then because of that shit, like more shit, like the domino effect of all the stuff, like just kept, piling on top. And so it was like I was buried in my shit. I was like lost somewhere underneath all of that. It's like I didn't really even know who I was or what I wanted or where I wanted to go or,
What was, if you were willing to, give me an example of something that happened that had such an impact on you?
So I had molestation in my as a child, and rape, and I really had not done any work around any of it.
Yeah.
And it had impacted every move and every aspect of everything that I'd ever done in my life.
Yeah. Well, one of the ways that people handle such trauma is to bring strength on top of it, like to push it to one side, to leave it behind, and their strength comes from leaving it behind. But then there's something that is unprocessed.
Oh yeah.
And did you feel the impact of that? Was that a constant with you?
No, at that time I was completely disconnected.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew the story, and I could maybe even on some level tell some people the story. It wasn't like the story was completely hidden with me, but I had never really worked through it, and the profound impact that it had made on my life, and the profound impact that it had made on every decision that I made in my life, and how I showed up in like every moment of every day. Like the way I showed up was completely based on those experiences, and it wasn't really the real me.
Yeah. And then when you show up as not the real you, other people interact with that person, so there's a gap, you feel there's something missing because they don't understand you, and that gap widens the more.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Misunderstood. It was like I was so fucking misunderstood. Like I didn't understand. Why didn't anyone understand me?
Yeah. Michael Neal has this lovely metaphor. He says, we're all born this beautiful diamond, and then stuff happens in life. Sometimes it can be incredibly traumatic, sometimes other things, but the diamond gets covered in shit. All this stuff that's going on in our world. And we spend the rest of our life trying to paint the shit with nail polish so that it looks nice again, instead of removing all the shit, because there's a beautiful diamond underneath it all.
Yeah. So the emotional processing work allowed me to find my beautiful diamond.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lightness to you when you say that to me.
Yeah.
And because you saw and felt the impact on you, you want to share that with others.
Yes. I really believe in my coach that I've told you about. Really, she was the one that taught me the process. And she always would say, like, you can't go around it or above it or below it. Like, you have to go through it. Like, you have to go through the fire. Like, we have to approach that thing that is like what we've been running away from our whole life, or whatever that is, right? Or at least the feelings attached to that. So it's counterintuitive, because it's like we want to get the fuck away from it, but we spend our whole lives trying to get away from it and feel misunderstood or whatever that piece is. So it's this, the act of going towards it and through it, and how incredible it is. One thing that Mona used to always say is, if you don't go after it, it will come after you. And I spent the first 30 years of it coming after me. It wasn't a good thing.
So if you don't handle your shit, you're going to be living in it. It's gonna run you.
Yeah,
I really get that. So here's what's interesting for me. When I'm talking to somebody about how they bring something into the world, whether it's their business, a project, an idea, I love this idea of starting with why. People want to start with a how. How do I do this?
Right.
And I'll take them to the why. What's your reason for doing this? But here's what I get about you. What you did in your world, in the TV world, you worked in a system that wasn't designed to have someone like you succeed, and you said, I'm going to succeed on my own terms, and you did. It was hard, you knew, but you did what it took.
You then created a non-profit because you had this passion to make a difference in the world, particularly in Africa, particularly in Kenya, and you raised hundreds of thousands of dollars every single year for years, building wells, taking clean water to people who'd never had water before, saving lives. You're a woman. What I get about you is that when something is important enough, nothing's going to stop you.
So what do we do?
Well, am I right?
Yes, yeah, you are. Yeah.
When you started your nonprofit, someone give you a business plan, tell you these are the 17 steps to follow?
It's interesting because I always told people, like, thank God my first really big entrepreneurial endeavor was a nonprofit organization, because if it hadn't been, I would have quit. But I felt so passionate about the need to bring clean drinking water to the communities that I was working in that it was like nothing could stop me. It's like it had to happen. You know, I didn't always like myself and what I became in that endeavor, because I could be forceful. But it was like I knew that I had to do it. As you said, nothing could have ever stopped me. It just had to happen.
Cool. So that's what we need to find for this project. Nothing could stop me. It had to happen. I bring a forcefulness that would break down barriers and make whatever needs to happen.
Right. Yeah.
So what are we missing on this new project? Because you get the impact this had on your life.
It's so good. Thank you. What am I missing? Well, I know one piece is, you know, I do a lot of processing work. I teach that processing work to my son. So at home, we get to do that. It's, I guess I would say part of my thing is like, my practice needs to be better at it. Like, I need to do it more consistently, more regular, like walking the talk, right? Like, that's part of it for sure.
So let me track that one for a second.
Okay.
How many years have you been doing deep processing work?
20, almost 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been immersed in this for 20 years, and yet you still have to do deeper work?
No, it's not like I have to do more. I haven't done enough yet. Like, I know what I'm doing, right?
Right.
But I get lazy sometimes, and I'm not on my game, right? So I'm like, right, remember like when we had the call last week, and I was like, I want to feel deeply. Well, I had to have you hold the space for me to do that. Well, it's like, I know how to fucking do that. I could, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I could do that. I could do that. But.
Well, we can't do it. We can't do it for ourselves. I constantly have coaches, people who are working with me on the things that I can help other people with.
Yeah, right. But I have a practice, right, that I actually do, and actually, it's one of the reasons why I feel like there's a need for this kind of studio, is that one of the pieces is that, you know, typically when we experience trauma or whatever, something horrible happens as children, we have to experience the emotional piece of it by ourselves. We don't have support around it, and that's why we're fucked up around it later, right? Yeah. So what I love about this concept, having the studio, is that it brings community around the processing, so you don't have to do it alone. That there actually are people there to support you. Even that, like, you know, say doing the processing by yourself in your home, like, some people can't do that. Like, they need more than that, and I think that's what having a place to go to do the work, why that's so important.
So interesting. You're not answering the question I asked you, but what you're sharing with me is your passion for doing this. There's even more reasons doing it. So I'll come back to my question.
So it's one of the reasons why I don't do it all the time, right? It's like we were talking about, like, the spinning thing, right? It's like I can't do the Peloton bike, but some people need to go to the spin class, or maybe I don't do yoga postures by myself at home.
Right.
I have to go to the yoga studio to do the yoga postures because I can't do it by myself. I mean, I can do it by myself, but I don't do it by myself. I need that community. I need the teacher there holding the space. I need the community of people doing the postures with me. I need that.
So again, I hear your passion as it keeps coming out. Look, I lost my job in 2005, and I'd been doing a lot of yoga at the time, and I wanted to just run away from England because I was humiliated by losing my job.
and I was looking for a yoga course. And the only one I could find that lasted longer than a week was a teacher training. So I rang up this teacher. It was a course in Thailand. I thought it'd be great. I can get far away from friends and family. And I said, look, I don't think I'm ever going to be a yoga teacher, but I'd love to do this course, and maybe I'll find out as I learn. And she said, I said, I've been doing yoga for 4 or 5 years only, and I'm imagining you have to have done it for decades to be a yoga teacher. And she said, Rich, there are some people who want a yoga teacher who could put their ankles behind the back of their neck, and there are some people who want a yoga teacher who are just a little bit down the road to them. And that was all the permission I needed to follow that path. It turns out it wasn't a path for me,
Right.
But what permission do you need?
I don't feel like I need permission. I feel like I have an expertise that I could do this. That's not the piece that I feel like I can't do.
Well, let's check that out, because a moment ago you said I haven't got enough experience.
Well, no, but it was really about, no, it's not about the experience I have, it's about the level of on my day-to-day practicing.
Okay.
Right, so it's like being the yoga teacher but not practicing yoga every day. So it's like I'm not leaving enough time and space in my daily life to do my emotional processing, the specific work I'm talking about.
Well, it sounds to me like it's a very human life. You're a single mother raising a 9-year-old boy, and you're running a business, and you have other projects on the go at the same time. You said to me earlier, was it 7 hours yesterday you spent? No, 7 different games you had to take your son to.
Saturday and Sunday, yeah.
Right. So what if it was okay to have all of that? Have permission to not be on my game every single day and doing deep inner processing every single day? What if that was being real? What if you didn't have to be perfect?
Oh. What if I didn't have to be perfect? Oh, that'd be great.
What's the sigh?
Well, what a wonderful relief it would be not to be perfect.
Tell me more.
Yeah, my self-expectations are so high.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting.
Yeah.
I exhaust myself.
Yeah. How long have you had this notion you have to be perfect and try to live up to it?
Oh, probably forever.
What's been the cost of that? No, let me pause you. The question I need to ask first is, what's been the advantage of that?
That's a good question. I've gotten a lot of shit done.
Yeah.
I'm highly productive.
Yeah.
I can do more in the day than most people could dream to do.
Yep.
Maybe in a week. Yeah.
Yeah. And not just more, but each thing that you do has more of an impact, right? So there's a real advantage to having to have everything be perfect.
Yeah. Right. Well, everything's not perfect. I fail miserably at being perfect every day.
But having the bar that high,
Yeah.
we can talk about the cost of it in a moment, but there's been a real advantage
Yeah.
for the impact
Gotten
you've
a lot
made.
of shit done.
Yeah. Not just got a lot of shit done, right? This is really important. You've got a lot of shit done. You've changed a lot of lives.
Yeah.
How many lives have been changed through the nonprofit you're in?
Well, from the time that I ran it until 2005 to 2015, at least 80,000 people.
So that was a cost you decided was worth bearing. I'm going to set the bar this high, I'm going to aim this high, and I'm going to feel every day that I'm not succeeding. I'm going to beat myself up on a regular basis because 80,000 lives have been changed. What's going on?
You know, I rarely let myself feel my accomplishments.
Yeah.
Because it's that thing, right, where it's like never enough. You know, it's like people always say, it's like if you've touched one person's life, that, like, that's like it, like that's all that matters, like one. And you know, that's the pitfall to being driven, is that it's hard to sit back and just take all of that in. And I can't, like sitting here, I can't even take it in.
Yeah, because, so my experience of working with high performers for years is that we have, one of the guilty secrets we carry is that we feel lazy. We get acknowledgements from everyone around us for our successes, for our accomplishments, and we can't take it in. We accomplish something, I accomplish something to this day, I give myself about 23 seconds to celebrate, then I'm looking at how I could have done it differently, I could have done it better, I'm looking to the future, what can I do next?
Yeah.
And I cried with some members of my team the other day because I admitted that I'm exhausted. I realized I was worn out. I have a business that's been built up around giving to others, around serving. I wrote a book about how to serve people. And it's great. I make a difference in lots of people's lives on a regular basis. And every once in a while, I think it's about every 2 to 3 years, it hits me that I'm worn out. And I have to, either it's forced on me by my body or by circumstances, or I catch it. Now I'm beginning to catch it. I've got to take time for me, and I'm not very good at doing that. You changed 80,000 people's lives. And what I know about taking clean drinking water and creating communities where they have access to clean drinking water, that's not just the direct lives that you save, it's every one of those people who then goes on to have a family where their children get to survive, and their children. I mean, the ripple effect from that is enormous. And it's why I caught myself when I asked, what's the cost of showing up this way? And I had to come back and say, what's the advantage of showing up this way? Because when I'm working with a client who has a way of being that they want to handle and let go forever, if we don't catch what the advantages are, their system's not going to let it go.
Right.
So we've got to take all the advantages and all the benefits that when you show up this way, and you're committed to a cause and nothing will stop you, and you become this forceful woman, you can put a stake in the ground and you'll say what needs to be said and you'll do what needs to be done because there's a difference in the world that you want to make. We don't let that go.
Right.
But what might be nice to let go or to shift is the idea that you have to be worn out by this.
Yeah.
The idea that you need to be perfect and be on your game every single moment of every single day. What if we could let that go?
Like, I'd like to do it like right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it stops the ability to celebrate, and it's like you lose all the goodness, and you know, it's like you carry the shit and you lose all the goodness of what we've done, what we do and what we've done. And
well, leaders and entrepreneurs are future-based people. We're always thinking off into the future. And we don't often turn around and look back. Just to turn around and go, hey, what have I accomplished? What have I done? What's the difference I've made?
Right.
Let me celebrate that.
And also it's like there's so many like, well, so-and-so did it better than me. Or, you know, it's like that fucking story where it's like, well, he raised more money than I did, or they drilled more wells. And like, I don't even know what their reality is. I'm just listening to their stories, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, and I think that's a big piece of it. I'm grateful for this conversation because I've never really thought about it this way, but it's, you know, maybe that's part of the challenge of moving forward. It's like that, if you can't really celebrate like what you've done and the power behind that. So
let's get out of theory for a second and let's be real.
Okay.
Look me in the eyes and tell me what you're proud of. Well, let's celebrate together. Yeah, it's. I get it. It's hard, right?
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't really feel like it.
That's okay. That's why we're working together. I didn't promise you it'd be comfortable. If it was comfortable, that's the life you know how to lead. This isn't, yeah.
It's like this. It's almost like I've just accepted defeat by.
Stop talking about it.
Okay.
This is your insight moment. This is it right now. There's two paths. There's two directions you can go. You can talk about it. You can say let's stop,
Okay.
or you can say it. This is what I'm proud of.
I'm proud that I had the balls to follow my dreams.
Yeah. You walked away from a career where you could have been very successful, made a lot of money, been known, made a difference in a particular way, and you said, I have a dream and I'm walking away and will follow my dream. That's amazing. Do you know how many people there are on this planet right now who have dreams that will never be fulfilled?
Yeah. Yeah, I know, it's extraordinary.
Tell me more.
That's extraordinary.
What are you proud of? And I'm extraordinary.
Oh, I'm extraordinary. I'm extraordinary.
Yeah, you are. Tell me more. What are you proud of?
I'm proud that I followed that vision, that little nugget of that dream that I had as a little girl, and finally fucking made it happen. Like, I got there. I was able to hold on to that nugget and then like actually fucking do it. Like get there and like get to the moment that I had, which was, sitting in a village of 35 women and learning about water. But that I was able to like take that calling, like I feel that calling, like carry that calling, and then say, fuck it, I'm gonna fucking do it. Like I'm like against all odds, like I did it.
You did.
Fuck it.
You did.
That I was able to do that, like no matter what, because I knew for me and my soul and my heart and my truth and my spirit, like that's what I had to do. No one else thought I should be doing it.
Yeah.
I did it. Like I'm proud of myself for like not backing down from that thing that I had to do.
And this is a vision that went right back to being a little girl.
Yeah.
And you made this happen years and years later, despite all the people saying, no, you couldn't do this, no, you shouldn't do this, someone like you doesn't do this.
Yeah.
You made it happen.
Yeah, I didn't back down from it.
You didn't back down. I have this image right now of Oprah doing the award ceremony the other day in her speech when she said, this is for the little girls who, I've got tears in my eyes right now, this is for the little girls who are watching. Because I want you to know you can make your dreams happen. And it's great for a billionaire to stand up and do that, and that's wonderful, it made a difference. But you don't have to be a billionaire to say this. You made your dreams happen, you followed them through.
I did. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And no one could ever take that away from me.
Mm-mm. What else are you proud of?
I'm proud that because of that dream and because of the work that became part of that dream, that I was able to bring 80,000 people clean drinking water.
Mm. Is that number is almost too big to conceptualize to me?
It is for me too.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel real.
Yeah. How many kids in your son's school?
310.
300.
Yeah.
I can't even do the maths. So there's 3 times that school in 1,000. Yeah. Yeah. Let yourself feel this.
It really is unfathomable.
80,000 people are like your son. 80,000. Yeah. Yeah, he ought to be proud of that. What are you feeling? So let's do this for a second.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot. I can feel it on the inside of me too.
Yeah.
And I know you're someone who does like to feel.
Yeah.
And I want to acknowledge you. This isn't easy. You're celebrating, you're acknowledging the impact you made.
Yeah.
And it's been massive. And the hardest thing was not actually taking water to 80,000 people. It's owning that you did that.
Yeah. So one of the things I was saying was that, when I left the organization, as it often happens, it was not a great departure. Just things got weird, which happens when in transitions with leadership. And I think, so I didn't really get my day to celebrate the work I had done. Being a celebrator, I didn't get to celebrate it. Instead, it became
being a celebrator. You're good at celebrating others.
I can even do like mini celebrations with me. When it comes to bringing 80,000 people clean drinking water, hard time with that. Yeah. I can.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like equivalent to like how hard you work for it, less you celebrate, or I don't know, something, right?
Yeah.
But you envision that when you leave an organization, especially one that you founded, that there would be a big celebration. That there would be not like, to celebrate me, to say thank you, like this was amazing that you did this. We're going to carry the torch for you, and it didn't happen. And
so let me pause you right
now.
Let's make it happen right now.
Thanks. Okay. This is it.
I'm going to pull a cord and stream is going to come from the sky. But let's.
Can it be sparkling?
With just the two of us, let's celebrate.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So it was pretty fucking amazing what you did in that job, right?
Yeah.
What do you wish you'd been celebrated for?
Just the fact that it happened.
Yeah.
Like it's a fucking miracle.
Yeah.
Like it's a miracle that it happened.
It is. What was it like before that organization even began with you there?
Well, it didn't exist.
Yeah. So it was an act of total pure creation. Nothing existed.
Nothing.
And in 10 years, 80,000 people got clean drinking water, which means that members of those families are healthy and not sick, which means members of those families are healthy and not dead, which means that their children are healthy and alive and going to school and becoming business people and taking care of others. I mean, the ripple effect is enormous. It's amazing what you did.
And the organization continues. Because of the work that I did.
So one of the signs of an extraordinary leader is that sometimes as a leader, you secretly want things not to work when you leave, so then they'll know how good I was. But one of the signs of an extraordinary leader is when an organization continues when you leave. And that's happened.
Yeah. Because, in order to create this, organization, it's like, so many people, it's about the passion and the idea, but it's like, how do you build a business? How do you create a foundation? How do you have a great database? How do you, what are your systems and your strategies and all that stuff? And all that stuff, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into that stuff.
Yep. And let's go back in time. It wasn't like you had a track record in that field and this was just your next level of success. You'd never done that. You couldn't have been further apart. You were working in Hollywood in the TV world.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, figuring it out one step at a time. And this idea that it was a seed of an idea, right? That the seed started probably when I was 6, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, just the seed of an idea. Like that we can create something out of nothing.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I'll celebrate that.
Okay. So I have a word I use at these times, a very professional word, it's very important, very profound. It goes like this. Yippee!
Yippee! Yeah. Feels good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I only had to wait 2 years for my celebration.
So take a breath, take a pause, shake it off for a moment. and then check in. And you told me what would make this conversation an extraordinary conversation is if you had an insight. And I knew that was coming.
Aha.
An aha moment. What's the biggest aha you've had so far?
Well, I think it's interesting that resistance to celebrate is incredible. It's profound. It's deep, it's hidden, because if you met me, you would be like, oh, she can't celebrate. You know, it's like, it's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, the important piece that goes with that is acknowledging that part of your gift came from that ability not to celebrate, to keep focus on what's needed to focus on. There's no time to celebrate.
Right.
We got to keep moving forward, eyes on the prize, don't let us stop.
And maybe that's my hesitation too, in the moving forward, because I know what I can be like. And it ain't pretty.
Nice.
And I don't want to do that anymore. Like, I don't want to be that catabolic energy of like, you know, I can do that. I can be a bitch on wheels, and I can fucking force everyone to do shit and make them miserable around me, and like, I know how to do that.
Yep.
Like, I'm real good at it.
Yeah.
And make myself miserable too, and stay up late at night and be a bitch to my son, and you know, I'm great at that. When the shit's hitting the fan, like, I'll get the shit done.
Yeah.
But like, there's gonna be a lot of wounded and dead, like, in the process, and I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to do it.
I get it. One of the things I like about when I set a goal is I like to put a rider on a goal. So I set a goal years ago now. I think I'd made $250,000 one year, and I was working with a coach, and what should we make? What's the goal for the next year? And it was 380,000. It was like the stretch goal. And she said, "Yeah, it's a nice number, but I don't feel you. Like, there's something missing here. What do you need to have that?" And I said, "Well, what would really be impossible is I make $380,000 and it's fun and easy. Like, that would be impossible. But that's what I know how to hustle. I know how to work hard. I'm not afraid of hard work. I don't want to do that any longer.
Right.
$380,000 and it's fun and easy. Like, that is a goal that lit me up. And it looked impossible. It wasn't like I had an idea. I couldn't turn it into a 17-step process. I had no clue.
Yeah.
In my room over there, because I'm cleaning up right now, is a whiteboard with that written on. I wrote that down. And I didn't make it that year. I made it the year later. And it was fun and easy. I like putting a rider on a goal.
Yeah.
I was in Liberia, in West Africa, taking clean water to villages that never had clean water a few years ago. I forget, 4 years ago now. And I was talking to someone I met who was also on this trip. And we were talking about what I want to do next in my business. And I said, well, I've been thinking about whether to take this business to a 7-figure business. But I've got friends who make a lot of money and they're unhappy, and I'm not willing to do that. And there are 3 values that are really important to me: fun, freedom, and family. And I'm not willing to do it at that cost. And she said, oh, it sounds like you have these 2 things as separate. What if you could have them together? What if you could create a 7-figure business that allowed you to have more fun, more freedom, and more time with your family than ever before? And I lit up and I went, wow.
Sounds good.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And I know, because I'm a coach. As a coach, for me, the power of working with a client is not to give them answers, is to give them more powerful questions to live into. And so for a year, I lived into that question. What if I could have a business that makes 7 figures and have more fun, more freedom, and more time with my family than ever before?
Yeah.
And I never sat down to make a plan or make it happen, but that was the year we made that happen.
Right. Yeah.
So what would the rider be on the goal that would have you light up, even if you didn't know how to make it happen?
Yeah, it has to be about freedom for me, like feeling free, like not feeling like I'm, constricted in any way. So I have to feel free in my creation. Like feeling free with an open heart. And there was so much the intention of, like, when I started this business, my coaching business, it was like I really had to make this work for my lifestyle, because I have like, high values on freedom and adventure and spending a lot of time with my kid and being very present in his world, meaning school and sports and whatever other activities he's doing, and not feeling guilty for doing those things. Because when I started Samburu Project, then like if I didn't go to the office, and I was like working all the time, right? But if I wasn't in the office with my employees, I'd feel guilty. And it's like, I don't ever want to create that. And I acknowledge that I created that. Like I created it. Yeah. It was I started the seed of an idea. I did that to myself. Like I imprisoned myself in that. And it's like, I don't ever want to imprison myself again. Like I want to feel free with an open heart. I don't want to feel imprisoned again.
Here's what I hear. One possibility for this goal is that I'm creating a center for people to have emotional release, and doing so creates more freedom, more adventure, allows me to have an open heart and even more time with my son than ever before.
Like it. Yeah. Because I've one of these things around like employee, like I'm like, oh, I don't want people to work, like I don't want to be beholden to people. Well, if I'm creating a space, there's going to be people that have to work there. So
well,
it's like...
Who knows? Who knows?
Right.
That's a possible solution. There may be other ways to do it.
Right.
We're not jumping into the answer right now to make this happen.
Yeah.
What we're trying to get is, do you have a mission that's big enough that no one's going to stop you? Do you have a mission that moves your heart and moves your soul so you can move others along this journey? And so I'll say it again. How's this? I'm creating a center for emotional release that allows me to have more freedom, more adventure, to live with an open heart and have more time with my son
than ever before. I'm open to that. Yeah.
So I'm open to that is not the same as, holy shit, that sounds amazing.
Okay.
What have we missed? Or is it just sounds so impossible you can't even take it in right now?
I believe it's possible. Because I believe anything's possible. Because I've done the impossible.
Yeah.
So I believe that, truly. What is it? Wow, that's like a weird thing, okay? So, yeah, you know what, it's interesting. It's like, you know how like you talk about process goals versus outcome goals? I think that's where I fuck myself up. It's like in my head, right? I go to outcome and I feel overwhelmed. And then I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, how could, instead of just being in a process, like the process of having that statement, of holding that space for that. So I think that's it. It's just my head jumping. It's my self jumping, way far ahead.
Got it. I mean, that is one of the challenges of an outcome goal, especially when you dream big like you do. It's so far out, 10 years, right? And then 80,000 people have been access to clean drinking water. But there are all those moments along the way where this hadn't happened,
right?
Where no one's giving you money and no one's taking you seriously, where it's really hard work. If we're only focused on the outcome goal, we can have days, weeks, months, and years, even decades sometimes, where we haven't achieved it. And then finally there's one day when we say we've achieved it. It's binary.
Right.
It's no for years until we get the yes. The power of a process goal is, these are the steps I'm going to take every day.
Right.
So what if there was something like this? Today, I'm going to take action on my goal to create a center for emotional release, because I know the difference that's going to make to people's lives. And I'm only allowed to take actions that create more freedom for me, or allow me to have an open heart, or create more adventure for me, or create more time with my son.
I like that. Because then it's like you're embodying the principle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. I do.
Yeah. Yeah. And because for me, I coach around insight, this is the moment where I pause in a coaching conversation.
where you've got this germ of an idea and then let's pause, let's stop, rather than trying to turn this into a 17-step plan and what are you going to do tomorrow? And
Right.
let's have you sit with this for a while.
Yeah.
Thank you for opening up. Thank you for sharing. I loved watching you celebrate. And I acknowledge that was probably one of the most challenging things you've done on this 10-year career of making a difference to 80,000 people. It's
Thank
even
you.
hard to take that in, right?
Yeah.
Thanks, Kristen.
Thank you.
For most of human history, it wasn't called coaching, it was called leadership. And it's what I love to do, to coach people, to lead people, and to mess with people's thinking. If you'd like more of this, or if you'd like to learn more about our community of extraordinary top performers, go to richlitvin.com/oneinsight.